Okay, my Silent Hill RPG horror game, board game thing. If you've seen the Resident Evil one, then you'll get the idea of how to play it, such as roll a 4, 5 or 6 to actually hit the monster. Now with this one, my students are crazy about Resident Evil, so they would kill me if I didn't put Leon, Chris and Claire into the game. So they're in there. So excuse them and the zombie dogs. The rest is Silent Hill. So we've got Heather Mason, Alessa Gillespie, Sherry Birkin, Harry Mason and Dr. Michael Kaufman. They're all in there. As playable characters. Non-playable characters, we've got Walter Sullivan with his guns, Lisa Garland and Cheryl Mason. So they've all got different skills which will help them get through the game. I don't know if this will help you. Okay, so we see with Harry Mason, his skill is he can hide, which is a bit rubbish really. But when we look at the board now, he can hide in any grey space on the board. So let me show you the board. This is the first floor. Now I've bent all these monsters back so it's more visible on a video camera. Obviously they would be standing up straight during the normal game. There's Walter Sullivan there. So I've got Harry Mason starting here and a few of the other characters would start in the room. And the idea of the game is they're going to find Cheryl, who's gone missing, and get out of the hospital. So many things to say. The first thing I did is I gave each character the skills. Like I said, Harry can hide anywhere that's grey. He can hide. This is the one of the wards with the beds, and he can hide under the beds in there. This is a nurse's office, so he got a desk chair, so you can hide under there. And this is a locker room, so we can hide in the locker. Watch out for the chainsaw guy from Resident Evil. And this is the WC, as you can see here, the women's WC. So go in the door, open the cubicle, and go to the toilet. And, oh, that's the door, sorry, this is the mirror. I'll show you the scenarios in a minute. So back to the skills then. I played this about 2 weeks ago, and the paper's all a mess now, it's all ripped to pieces. So let me show you the player's skills then. So Harry Mason, he can hide in any of the grey spaces. The students thought it was a good idea if he could use black magic, so ice and fire. That's why some of the monsters are weak against those elements. Psychic. Now what that means is, if this is Harry with an axe, if he is in this room, he knows where the monsters are in the next room, which is a very useful skill. Otherwise, you won't be able to know where they are, and they could jump out and get you. He can hear voices, of course. Ashley, I know, Resident Evil. She can hide as well. She can use white magic, which is to heal. Psychic again, and rest, which is basically she sits down where she is, and her HP goes back up. Dr. Kaufman, he uses first aid, so that's healing. He can hide again, and something called chemical attack. Now a chemical attack is, if I get the die, chemical attack is where you take 2 or 3, depending on how good your students are, 3 dice, and roll them, add them up, and that's how much attack they do to monsters. So that would be 11 HP attack. Of course, it's not infinite, and it will run out after time. Alright, sorry about the mess here, but we've got Heather. I know she's Cheryl, but the kids don't know that. Poison shot. This means she'll shoot the monster, and the monster will continuously lose health over time. Black magic as well, just like her father. And crawl. Now crawl, differently in this game, I have places I haven't shown it very well at the moment, but what I do is I put little counters there to show where you can crawl. So like that door will be locked and she can come in here and crawl through the hole. So that's a good skill for her. Alessa, she's psychic, she can tell where the monsters are. Control is where if you roll, for example, a 5 or a 6, you get control of a monster that's in the same room as you, and you can do what you want with it. And banish is where if you roll a 6, again this is just using my example, the monster is removed from the room, unless it's a boss. Sherry, another Resident Evil person. Fast feet. Normally the player rolls with, say, 2 dice. Fast feet means she has an extra dice, so you can go faster throughout the game. Hide again and crawl. Control, just like Alessa, and she can rest. Who else we got? Right, we've got the Resident Evil folk here, because there is an one who is a gunslinger. Leon, he does something called headshot. Obviously you know what that is. When you're attacking, if you roll a 6, you hit the monster in the head and you kill it. Multi-kill. That's on the board if you have the monsters in a row. So if they're in the same line of squares, like here, pong, 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 you can hit them. Maybe not kill them, but you hit them anyway. Chris has a leg shot, so your movement is halved as a monster. Multi-kill, the same again. And Claire, arm shot, where the monster's attack is halved. Multi-kill. And stealth, meaning she can get out of rooms, or get through a room without being attacked by a monster, if she's lucky. Okay, that's the main characters that they choose from, because I said my guys are crazy about Resident Evil. Otherwise I would have gone solely with Harry and Heather. Okay, the unplayable ones, we've got Walter Sullivan, and what I do here is I have him in my room, and I play as Walter Sullivan, and then he's in one of the wards, like the cell. Let's turn it around a bit so you can see him better. And when the player goes near the door, he starts screaming, "Help, help, let me out, help, help." And they've got to get the key to let him out. Okay, and then he will be controlled by the teacher and will shoot the monsters. However, the truth is, after a while he goes crazy and starts attacking the player. Lisa. She is in the nurse's office. I'll show you in a minute. And of course she is going to change into one of the monsters of the hospital. And Cheryl. I like the bad endings in Silent Hill, so Cheryl to me does become the evil form. In fact, I took some liberties and she actually becomes Samiel towards the end. You have to kill Samiel. And I think that is all the characters. Right, the next slightly boring bit is the Necronomicon. Dun, dun, dun. It's getting a bit faded now, the kids really wrecked it. So I've got the name of all the monsters in here. And if you want any of these materials, please send me a message and I'll send them to you. I start off with a very wussy spider. So you see it's weak against a knife and fire, strong against nothing. Spider web means you can't move if it casts the spider web on you. Zombie dog, it bites you and that'll cause a bit of bleeding so your HP goes down. Bubblehead zombie, this is a good one. If you get too close to it, it will explode and you'll lose quite a bit of HP. And they just move around like the normal ones. Mummy zombie. What this mummy does is it jumps on you and it stays on you and sucks the HP off you until you kill it. And it'll just follow you around. Crawling zombie. You will turn into a zombie if it bites you and you need to be cured by whoever does the first aid or the white magic. Ghost, very weak, but they do fireballs and they can teleport. So teleport just means go from here to over here. Anywhere in the room you can teleport. You can't teleport out of a room, only in the room. And they can go invisible as well. So they can just totally disappear off the board and the player won't know where they are. And then come back later. I've set this all up the wrong way. These should be going this way. There are the ghosts. Okay, moving on. I think we're almost there. Bobblehead nurse. She's weak against gun, knife and fire, and if she hits you, takes off half HP. Although you can kill her with one hit from behind. And of course, she doesn't move unless you make a lot of noise. Nurse zombie there has a gun. She can shoot you far away. I call this guy, the Resident Evil guy, Baghead. He can cut your head off with one hit. So you need a doctor to sew it back on. And he can break down doors. So even if you close the door, you can break it down. And he'll keep getting back up unless you set fire to him in some way. The butcher, he can kill you with one hit. Fresh meat, he can half your speed by cutting your leg, break the doors, and it's good to freeze them because they stay frozen for a long time. Alright, now the bosses, nearly finished. Knives. This guy can teleport around the room. Capture, which is where he grabs hold of you, then teleports, or he can cut you up. He can dig through the floor into another room, and he can kill you with one hit if he rolls a 5 or a 6. Fat boy, as I call him. Very powerful indeed. Power hit means you roll, I think, 3 or 4 dice, and that's the HP you take off. Circle of power is square, so it's a 3x3 grid. That hurts you. Head crush, kill you with one hit, and you can break down doors. And the last two, so we've got Samael, HP 100, or even more. I mean, you can change this however you want. Skill, he can kill you. Death, one hit. Circle of Flame is a 4x4 grid attack. You can possess a player if he rolls the right number, and you can get them to kill the other player. You can summon ghosts, as I've done in this room. Summon 4 ghosts. You can teleport anywhere around the room, and he can get rid of somebody, dismiss. So if a player's in the room, you can just send them out of the room if they're too powerful, if you roll the right number. And our favourite is Pyramid Head. He's invincible, he can teleport, he can break down the door, he can break down the wall, and he can kill you with one hit. There. Right, so, around we go again. The way I started is, I had Harry and a couple of the other players waking up in the hospital bed. Then they make their way down. They hear Walter screaming for help, and he says, "Go get the key." The key is with the nurse. Where's the nurse? The nurse is in the... She's gone to the toilet. So make your way. These doors are locked a little bit. Locked, locked, locked. And then you go into the women's toilet, and then the door is locked behind you. You can't get out. You check this cubicle, it's locked. It's open, this one's locked. Open, open. And the mirror starts moving. You go through the mirror, and you come out of this other mirror in the other women's WC. And you see there's a nurse on the floor with a key. Now you know she's going to get up, but you've got to be craftier than that. So you take the key, and you run away from her, come back through the mirror, and then this door bursts open, and out comes a butcher. you poop your pants, and you can't get out that door. The butcher is stood there, so the only way to go is to go back through the mirror. The students do this every time, and they hide in the cubicle. And the butcher comes through the mirror, and he just walks around for a little bit while the other players are having their go. Then they make a dash for it. Then they make a dash for it and come back in the corridor, and then these other doors are open. You can let Walter free, but like I said, after a while he will go crazy and he will try to kill the players. Then where do I go from here? I mean, I've played this so many different ways, it's hard to remember which is which now. You can unlock these doors, there's the mummy zombies in there. This door, I have it locked, and the key is on the stairs over here. I'm so cruel. So they make their way through the corridor, kill the monsters, and it's dark, pitch black. These are stairs, by the way. So they come through the stairs, and they can hear some moving, and they think they can see some light on some metal, like a sword or something. They come down here, and then they see it's him, they look him up in the book, and they panic, and they run away. And then he starts chasing them a little bit through the game. And the idea is to introduce Pyramid Head very early, and he chases them all the way through, so they feel the constant pressure to keep moving and going in the right direction. So they got the key, Pyramid Head disappears, and they meet their first boss in the morgue, which is Knives. And I put a lot of monsters in the room there, and after you kill them he starts coming through. I don't remember that too well, to be honest. Anyway, you can go down the stairs because he's gone, Pyramid Head is gone, or you could try to use the elevator. I put Fat Boy in there for now because one time I had him coming out of the elevator and it frightened the hell out of the class. But they can go down in the elevator, which takes them to that point there. Of course, Samuel and his ghosts are not there yet. But what else do we have? Oh, all sorts of traps and things. Oh, I missed Lisa, didn't I? Lisa is over there. I bent her the wrong way again. There she is, there's Lisa. She's in the nurse's office. And that after you reach her, then the nurses start to come out and attack. I put a bag head there. If you try to go in a locker room, he comes and gets you. I think that's a breakable wall there as well. So eventually she'll turn into one of these crazy nurses and try and attack you later. And, well, this one's not set as the Resident Evil one, because I've changed it many times. I can't remember the layout for it. This is generally the map I use. Like that. And sometimes I don't even use some of the monsters. Like I'll use the Resident Evil ones. Now this game, I guess it would take about more than 2 hours to play. Because it's fast. It really is. I mean, when I did this in my hour-and-a-half class, we ran out of time very quickly, and they'd already played the Resident Evil one before. So they were like, come on, move it. I guess the way I ended it, which was very good for me, was they had to... Cheryl changed into Samael and the four ghosts. They all congregated in this area. And eventually, after a hard struggle, killed Samael, who changed back into Cheryl. And then out of the front door. So this is the front door, by the way, which is of course locked by mysterious forces. But once they kill Samuel and get Cheryl back, you can get out. Okay, thank you very much.